At my sister's wedding, my nephew gave me a custodian uniform in front of 200 guests. He smirked and said, "Mom said you can begin after the vows." Everyone laughed. I rose without a word and said just, "Now open my gift." When they saw what was inside the box. Have you ever been publicly humiliated by your own family? At my sister's wedding, in front of 200 guests, my own 8-year-old nephew, with a beaming smile, handed me a janitor uniform and declared, "Uncle Max, Mommy said you can start after the vows." The laughter that erupted, it still chills me to the bone. But they had no idea what I was about to do next, or what I had hidden in a small white box. Let me tell you, I'm Max. I'm 33. The older brother. The quiet uncle. The guy everyone calls when there's a mess, literally. I own a cleaning company, 2 vans, 12 employees, booked months out. I work my butt off. No weeknight drinking, up at 5:30 a.m. I make spreadsheets for fun. I'm the one who remembers the extra batteries, the tape, the aspirin, the stain remover. And I'm also the one my family calls the help. Not to my face, of course. The day of my sister Lena's wedding, I was the first sibling at the venue. Habit, I guess. I checked the bathrooms, shook the venue manager's hand, like I always do. Then I dropped off a small, simple gift box at the card table. White paper, black ribbon. Just sat down near the aisle, second row, minding my own business. That's when my nephew, 8 years old, all toothy grin and suspenders, walked up. He had something folded over his arm. It was a Navy janitor uniform. My company's name, Clean Max Services, stitched across the chest in white thread, like some kind of sick joke. He held it up and yelled that line. "Uncle Max, Mommy said you can start after the vows." The laughter rippled through the room. Real, mean laughter. From my aunt, from a cousin, from the groom's friends who'd never even met me. The DJ even turned the music down, so everyone could hear. My mother looked away. My father smirked. Lena? She just watched me. Her expression was flat, cold. It was like she'd finally said out loud what she really thought of me. I stared at that uniform. The same cheap cut we buy for our night cruise. The same stiff collar. And it was my size. "Put it on," my uncle called out, trying to make it a moment for the cameras. I stood up. Not fast, not dramatic. Just stood. I didn't reach for the uniform. I didn't look at Lena or my parents. I turned to my nephew. My voice was level, almost impossibly calm. "Buddy, thank you for bringing that. Now do me a favor." He blinked. "What?" "Go tell your mom to open my gift." The room went absolutely silent. You know that kind of quiet? The kind you feel in your teeth. I pointed to the card table. The white box, black ribbon. "Tell her I said, open it now." He looked uncertain for a second. Then he ran. The laughter stopped like someone had pressed a mute button on the world. I could hear the AC kick on. The florist's ladder creaked somewhere behind a drape. I sat back down. My hands were steady. My breathing was slow. I could feel the heat in my face, that sharp edge of humiliation, the little boy inside me wanting to scream, wanting to defend myself. But I didn't explain anything. I just waited. For them to see what was inside the box. See, I didn't grow up rich. We grew up make it look good. My parents cared about appearances like it was a religion. Stains were a sin. That was fine as long as your shoes squeaked new. I started working early. Janitor at the YMCA at 16. Night crew at a hotel at 18. I liked turning chaos into order. It just made sense. Mops don't lie. Floors either shine or they don't. By 27, I built Clean Max Services. Word of mouth. Small contracts. Restaurants at 2 a.m. Office floors before sunrise. When COVID hit, we nearly folded. I kept the team on payroll anyway. Burned through my savings. Took the van out myself. We survived. My chest still tightens when I pass those months on my calendar. My family liked the survival story. They liked showing me off to neighbors. Our Max owns a company. But at home, I wasn't Max the owner. I was Max who can swing by with the carpet extractor. I was free labor, wrapped in family language. Sweetheart, could you just do the house before the party? You're so fast. Bro, bring your guys after the baby shower. I'll pay you with pizza. Max, don't be dramatic. It's family. There were bigger things, too. When my sister flamed out of a dental hygienist program, I co-signed her car so she could get to a job. When she missed payments, I made them. When our dad borrowed my company card for a quick emergency, I ate the charge. When my mom asked me to deep clean grandma's condo to help with the sale, I did it between jobs and sent no invoice. Every time I tried to set a boundary, I got the same lines. You think you're better than us? You only care about money. Wow, you forgot where you came from. Last spring, Lena announced her wedding date in the family chat, 20 exclamation points. Right after that, a text only to me. We'll need your team day before, day of, and day after. You know the drill. I typed, I'll give you a friends and family quote. My thumb hovered. I erased it. I wrote, I'll send a proposal with a discount. She replied with a single word. Hilarious. I sent the proposal anyway. It was lean. Supplies at cost. Labor marked down 40%. I attached a formal contract, so I'd be covered with the venue. She didn't sign it. She didn't answer. 2 weeks later, my mother called me on speaker, Lena in the room. Max, my mother said, voice tight. It would mean a lot to your sister if you just did this. Like a gift. I already bought a gift, I said. A pause. Then Lena, her voice sugar thick. No offense, but your gifts are usually practical. We're doing black tie. The least you can do is make sure everything stays spotless. The venue has custodial staff, I said. Max, my mother cut in. You know, staff don't care like family. Translation free. I told them I'd sleep on it. I didn't sleep. I ran numbers. If we took the wedding, we'd be cleaning until 3 a.m., then back by 6 a.m. We had 3 restaurant contracts that weekend. My crew would be wrecked. Overtime, breakage, fuel. But mostly the disrespect. The casual assumption that my job, my business, wasn't real work. At 4:15 a.m., I emailed Lena again. Comment straight. I restated the proposal with one change. Full prepayment by the week before the wedding. No exceptions. If we don't have a signed contract and payment by Friday, we are unavailable. She read it.
She didn't respond.
Friday came. Nothing. I booked my crew elsewhere. 3 days before the wedding, I got a text from my dad. We took care of it. You're doing Saturday. Don't start trouble. My stomach dropped like a stone. I called the venue. The manager said, we have a verbal confirmation from your sister that your company will handle all cleaning. She gave us your business name and copied your logo from your website for the day of binder. Did she sign anything for us? I asked.
No, he said.
But frankly, we're relieved. Our regular attendant is out. Relieved is not legally binding, I said, forcing my voice not to shake. He cleared his throat. If your team is not coming, we need to know. My team is not coming, I said. There was a long pause. Understood. I'll find someone else. That night, the family chat lit up. Screenshots. Passive-aggressive jokes. A meme of a guy in a janitor uniform saluting. My cousin. At least he's finally doing something useful at a wedding. My aunt. A joke about me doing what I'm good at. Like my work was all I was. My dad's contribution. Max loves to feel needed. I typed nothing. I put my phone face down. Instead, I opened a folder on my laptop labeled Family. Old invoices. Bank statements. Cell transfers. The car payments I'd made for Lena when she forgot. The 0% credit card I'd opened to help my parents float a month that turned into a year. The $2,100 in supplies I'd ordered for Grandma's condo. The emergency charge my dad never repaid.
It was a TV.
I'd seen it. I sorted dates. I added notes. I printed everything. I slid the stack into a black folder. Then I wrote a letter. Not angry. Not cruel. Simple language. It said boundaries. It said numbers. It said no more. It said, you owe me. Not an emotion. In dollars. It said, "Pay me back or I file." File what? Not a lawsuit.
Not yet.
A small lien. Two, actually. Legal.
Boring. Quiet.
I knew their property taxes were late and their mortgage had been refinanced 3 times. I knew where to file. The papers were ready in a second folder. Last, I made one call to the venue manager and asked for 5 minutes of his attention before the ceremony. "Careful," he said, "as long as it's not drama." "It's logistics," I said. I put everything in that white box, black ribbon. I slept like a stone. Morning of the wedding, I ironed a shirt, tied a simple tie, and drove the van because my car was in the shop. I left the team to their Saturday routes with pastries and a text. "Proud of you." At the venue, I set the box on the card table and sat down. You know the rest of that scene. The uniform, the laughter, the heat in my face. My nephew's grin fading when I didn't put it on. The room holding its breath when I said, "Open my gift." Lena stood beside the arch with her bouquet, that hollow smile brides wear when the photographer says, "One more." She whispered something to our mother. Mom walked to the card table and picked up my box like it might be a bomb. She handed it to Lena. Everyone watched. "Open it," I said again. My voice didn't carry anger. It carried finality. People always hear that tone, even if they don't know the words. Lena tugged the ribbon. The lid came off. She frowned. Inside was the black folder, the lien folder, and a small Bluetooth clicker. My stomach turned. I didn't want a scene. I didn't want to make her smaller. I just wanted one clean thing. For my work and my no, to be treated like it mattered. If I did this, it had to be about boundaries, nothing else. She lifted the black folder first. A few pages slid free. Color printouts, my handwriting in the margins. "What is this?" she said, loud enough to travel. I stood. Walked to the DJ. My voice polite. "Sir, could you switch the screen to airplane?" He blinked. The venue manager was already moving. "It's okay," he murmured to the DJ. He nodded at me once. 5 minutes, I opened my laptop. The screen behind the arch glowed. My desktop popped up. A simple title slide. Family accounting. A murmur swelled like rain. Lena's jaw tightened. "Max, turn that off." I clicked once. Slide 1. Car payments for Lena, $1,386.22. Dates. Bank line items. Photos of receipts. Reason given, short month. Click. Slide 2. Emergency charge for dad, $1,399.99. Side by side. My card statement. A Best Buy receipt for a 65-inch TV. Dates stamps matched. Click. Slide 3. Grandma's condo supplies, $2,103.17. Bleach. HEPA filters. Contractor bags. Disposal fee. Reimbursed, $0. Click. Slide 4. Streaming services plus family phones, 28 months. Cost breakdown.
Who was on which line?
The total was embarrassing. People weren't laughing anymore.
And that's when it hit me.
I hated this part. Not because the numbers were wrong, but because an audience changes everything. So I kept it flat and boring on purpose. No jokes. No insults. Just receipts. I didn't explain. I didn't editorialize. I just clicked. The numbers spoke fine without me. Click. Slide 5. Proposed wedding services declined. My discounted proposal. The timestamps. The unanswered emails. Click. Slide 6. Screenshots from the family chat. The meme of the janitor. The jokes. I'd blacked out names for non-immediate relatives. Not shame, just context. "Max," my mother hissed. "Stop." I looked at the room. "No speeches," I said softly. 5 minutes of facts. Lena tried to hand the box to my dad like it burned. He shook his head. I clicked again. Last slide. Total outstanding balance owed to Max, $12,989.38. There was a payment detail. I'd waived interest. I'd set a polite timeline, 60 days. I held up the second folder. These are notices of intent to file liens on mom and dad's rental and Lena's car if the balance isn't paid by the deadline. The forms are filled. Not filed yet.
Gasps.
A cousin whispered, Jesus. The groom's mother put a hand over her mouth. The room stopped moving entirely. Lena's face went chalky. You're extorting me at my wedding. I met her eyes. I'm setting a boundary at my sister's wedding because you tried to make me your staff at my sister's wedding. She opened her mouth, closed it, then chose a different attack. You're doing this for attention. You always wanted to be the main character. No, I said. I want to be left alone. That's different. She threw the clicker at my feet. You're ruining my day. I nodded once. Let me be perfectly clear, so we don't have to talk about this again. I faced the room. I am not cleaning this venue. I am not sending my team. I am not the backup plan. I am not a bank. I am not a subscription service. And I am not the joke. I pointed at the uniform, still folded on the chair. Put that in the trash. Silence. Then the first ripple. The venue manager stepped forward, calm and professional. For the record, he said, cleaning will be handled. We've brought in another crew. He glanced at me, then back at Lena. They're already on standby. Paid. I hadn't arranged that. He had. He looked at me like a man who has seen this movie before. My nephew, small voice, cut through the stillness. Mommy, did Uncle Max do something wrong? Lena swallowed, eyes glossy. He made a mistake. I crouched to my nephew's level. Buddy, adults sometimes forget to say please and thank you. That's all. It's not your fault. He nodded, unsure. I straightened. I closed my laptop. I picked up the white box lid and tucked the folders back inside. I didn't look at my parents. I didn't need to. I felt their rage like heat lamps on my back. I walked back to my seat and sat. My hand shook now. Late. Adrenaline is always late. The officiant cleared his throat. Shall we begin? Lena's smile returned, shaky. The ceremony started. They said vows. They kissed. People clapped. The day stuttered forward like nothing had exploded. But something had. The reception was a polite war. My mother cornered me at the bar. How dare you humiliate your sister? I could have enjoyed that moment. I didn't. I felt tired. Honestly embarrassed too, because this shouldn't have needed a public room to become real. But private talks kept turning into nothing, and I wasn't doing nothing anymore. I sipped my water. How dare you use an 8-year-old to humiliate me? She blinked fast. It was a joke. No, I said. It was a message. She leaned in. We raised you. We wiped your nose. You wouldn't have that company without us. My company exists because I mopped floors alone at 2 a.m. for years, I said. You didn't raise a business. I did. My father joined, jaw tight. Take those slides down. They're already down, I said. He jabbed a finger toward my chest. You file anything against me, and that's it. You're out. No holidays. No birthdays. Don't call when you need help. I haven't asked you for help since I was 19, I said. And I won't start now. He stared. He knew I was telling the truth. He hated it. My aunt approached later, with the smile of a person who loves gossip more than justice. You didn't have to air it out, honey. Family business is family business. Family business is business, I said. When you send me a bill for a napkin holder, but expect me to refinish your deck for free. She blinked. The smile didn't reach her eyes. You've changed. I grew up. The groom's parents found me. The bride's mother put a hand on my arm. For what it's worth, she said quietly, that was brave. Boundaries are hard. Her mouth quirked, like there was a story there. We've paid for a third party tonight. No one will ask you for a thing. Thank you, I said. And I meant it. My crew texted me pictures from their routes. Bathrooms shining. A note a bar manager left them. Best team in the city. I felt the knot in my chest loosen a little. My world is not this ballroom. My world is vans, checklists, and a little sweat. That world makes sense. At 9:30, My cousin Sam slid into the chair next to me with 2 plates of cake. He's the quiet kind. You okay? I shrugged. I will be. He nudged a plate toward me. Good, because I think you just changed how this family works. He wasn't wrong. People sat a little straighter around me after that. Some avoided my eyes. Some made a point to say hello, like they wanted to be on record. One of Lena's bridesmaids, who I'd never met, leaned in with a whispered, "Good for you," and slipped away. Lena avoided me until the bouquet toss. Then she stormed over, her veil snagging on a chair. You owe me an apology. For what? I asked. For ruining my wedding. I didn't ruin your wedding, I said. I declined to be free labor and showed you a calculator. You embarrass me, she said, her voice shaking, in front of his entire family. You embarrass me first. In front of yours. She opened her mouth, closed it. You could have just talked to me privately. I tried. You ignored me. Her eyes shimmered. For a second, I saw the kid who used to steal my hoodie and fall asleep on my shoulder during road trips. Then I saw the woman who texted me a meme of a janitor at midnight and thought it was funny. I'm not your employee, I said quietly. I'm your brother. She looked away. My nephew found me again near the dessert table, holding a cupcake like a grenade. Mommy says you don't love us. I crouched. That's not true. Then why are you mad? Because grown-ups need rules like kids do, I said. If I don't keep mine, I turn into someone I don't like. He nodded, thoughtful, in the solemn way of children. Like when I don't share? Exactly. He handed me the cupcake. You can have this. Deal, I said, smiling despite myself. I didn't stay for the sparkler exit. I left my gift box with the venue manager, who promised to keep it safe. I drove home with the windows cracked. The night smelled like cut grass and cheap cologne. My phone buzzed nonstop. I set it face down on the seat. At home, I fed the cat, hung on my suit, and opened my laptop. Emails were pouring in. Some from cousins. Some from numbers I didn't know. A couple from brides and restaurant managers who'd heard about what happened through the grapevine and wanted to work with a company that didn't get pushed around. Word travels weird. I also had 2 payment notifications. Small amounts from my aunt and a cousin who'd borrowed forever ago. The subject lines both said, sorry. I stared at the screen until the numbers blurred. It wasn't the money. It was the proof that saying no can pry something open in other people, too. Sunday morning, I filed what I said I'd file. Notices of intent to place liens. Not liens yet. A line in the sand, on paper. I emailed copies with a cover note. This is not personal. It's accounting. My mother replied 30 minutes later with a single sentence. You are killing me. I typed back. No. I'm finally choosing me. No more streamlining my pain so theirs could run faster. On Monday, I removed my parents' and Lena's phone lines from my business account. Set up new passwords. Killed guest logins. Stopped automatic transfers. I changed the access code to the supply closet my dad liked to treat like Costco. I told my office manager, if you see a family name, it goes on a wait list like everyone else. Discount cap is 10% once a year. No exceptions. If they push, send them to me. She nodded, her eyes soft. Proud of you, boss. Tuesday, a florist we work with sent a text. Heard the story. Your sister's mom called you a tyrant. I call you my new favorite person. Wednesday, the groom called. Not Lena, the groom. His voice was careful. We've been going through the slides. Some of those debts. I didn't know. That's between you and your wife, I said. I just wanted to say, he paused. I want to make it right. For our part, I'll send what we owe for anything we actually used. I won't speak for your parents or Lena's personal stuff, but the wedding-related costs will cover. Okay, I said. You have the QR code? He huffed out a laugh. Yeah, man. You really put a QR code at the wedding. Old habits, I said. He sent $1,900 that afternoon. Supplies. Overtime hours I'd reserved before Lena ghosted. I hadn't expected it. I appreciated it. By Friday, The family chat was quiet. Then one message from my dad. Your mother is crying. I didn't respond. Saturday, my nephew's dad texted a photo. My nephew had tied my company's baseball cap to a stuffed octopus. He'd written on a sticky note, "For Uncle Max, the boss." He'd drawn a mop. "Thank him for me," I sent back. "Proud of you," my brother-in-law wrote. Short.
Private.
Risky for him. He's usually Switzerland. I stared at that text longer than I should have. Boundaries change the map. Sometimes people surprise you by stepping onto your side. Sometimes they don't. You learn to live with both. 2 weeks later, I dropped by my parents' house for the first time since the wedding to pick up a box of my old tools. My mother met me at the door, red eyes, a speech in her throat. "I don't want to fight," I said before she could start. "I came for the tools." "You embarrassed us," she said anyway. "You embarrassed me for years," I said. I just finally held up a mirror. She swallowed. "You always make yourself the victim." "No," I said. I made myself the boundary. My father stood in the hallway like a guard. "You think a piece of paper scares me?" "No," I said. "Consequences do."
He scoffed.
"You'll miss this family when you're old." "I'll miss a family I never had," I said. "Not this version." I picked up the toolbox. Heavy, familiar. I paused because I wanted to say it right. "I'm not angry anymore," I said. "I'm done." "Done with what?" My mother snapped. "Being useful first and a person second." On my way out, my nephew peeked from behind the couch and waved. I wiggled my fingers back. Love can be simple when you aim it at the right size. In the van, the air smelled like lemon cleaner and coffee. My phone buzzed with a new contract inquiry. I smiled. The world is big when you stop shrinking it. That night, after my last walkthrough, I sat on the concrete step behind a restaurant and listened to the hum of compressors and late traffic. My hands were still. My mind, too. People think victory feels like fireworks. For me, it felt like a locked supply closet with only my coat on it. It felt like declining a quick favor and not explaining why. It felt like opening my banking app and not seeing 6 names attached to my card. It felt like knowing my nephew will one day hear 2 versions of that wedding story. And if he asks me, I'll say, I didn't yell. I didn't throw a fit. I told the truth and I left. I mailed the last polite reminder to my parents and Lena with a 60-day date circled. Maybe they'll pay. Maybe they won't. If they don't, I'll file, and it will be boring and adult and not a movie scene. No rage. Just paper. So, here it is in plain words I can live by. I'm not a punchline. Not a wallet. Not a mop with a heartbeat. I'm Max. I run a clean company. My life is not a favor you forgot to say thank you for. No more cleaning up other people's messes unless it's on the schedule, in writing and paid in advance. And if anyone ever asks me to put on a uniform at a party again, I'll smile, shake their hand, and say, I already did. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw such a hard line with your own family? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.